not just humans, and welcome to the Tiny Talks podcast, the podcast where we take big thoughts and make them a tiny bit more manageable, one tiny talk at a time. I am very excited for this episode because I have Tizzy on the podcast today. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves and say a bit about who you are and maybe introduce like yourselves?
Yeah.
As well.
Okay. Hello, I'm Isabella. I'm the Izzy of Tizzy. A little bit about myself. I have a pet pug. I like sleeping in my bed.
Cool.
I'm Tia from Tizzy. I love ink painting and synthesizers.
Cool. That's epic.
I'm Ash. I'm the drummer of Tizzy. I love music. And I love playing the drums and also playing the drums.
Cool. Epic. So, this week's episode, we're talking all about expression, especially through music, hence music and the performing arts, hence why I have Tizzy on today. Our quote of the week is, people are going to talk about you no matter what you do, so you may as well do whatever brings you joy and live your best life. So that's our quote of the week. We're going to try come back to that a few times as the episode goes on.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So, do you guys want to go over your highlight of the week first?
Yeah. Okay. So, my highlight was recording our song. Woo!
Yay!
That'll be out sometime soon this year. My second highlight was going to Fur Patrol.
Oh yeah, I heard that was on.
It was fire.
I definitely reckon that recording was probably the best thing. I think, well, it's like at the end of the day we'd done it. It was a massive process. Started at 9:30, finished at 5:30, and I think at the start of the next day I was ready to wake up and do the whole thing again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like the experience was just amazing.
Yeah,
working with
things are cool.
people that know what they're doing and a bunch of great gear and just everything. It was awesome.
Yeah. Tia?
Yeah, I don't think anything could have been better than Monday when we recorded our song. Like, it was just such a special experience, and there was like this moment where we were all just sitting around Kahu's mic, like doing little claps.
Yeah.
And I think that's the happiest I've ever been in my life.
That's so cool. I love that so much. I think my highlight of the week was probably the solo performing arts competition on Wednesday. That was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to get into the main part of the episode now, and we have a couple different points that we're going to talk about. So, our first question for each of you to answer, that we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about, is why is the performing arts something that you were drawn to? So, dance, drama, or music?
Well, I just love being the centre of attention.
That's
so
what
real.
I was thinking, but like I was too scared to admit it.
I like being able to demonstrate that I'm capable at doing something at least.
So true.
But I think definitely expression is a big part of it, and like sort of just being able to put all your energy into one, I don't know, big performance that you do every few months feels quite refreshing, and you've always got this goal to work for, and you always know that got to be getting ready for the next performance, and it's exciting.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of a loop, and you want to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like having an audience's energy is just like the most amazing thing ever, and like having people be really receptive to what you're doing and like connect with it, because you can be doing something in your room and it's like really fulfilling, but then sharing it with others and then they find it special.
Yeah.
That's so good. Like,
it's so cool.
Wow, you like my stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have anything in particular to it?
I feel like these two kind of said it, but like, I guess there's just like performing arts, like there's no other way where I really know how to express myself other than in the arts.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, in particular, because us three did Adams together, And like I think one really cool moment was when the curtain came up for the beginning of the show, and like us two was like standing there, and like the whole audience just like started applauding and cheering before anything had even happened. And it's like those sort of moments, like there's sort of like a gratification for like literally months and months and months of work that have gone into something really important.
And it's still rewarding like months later, like looking back on it and just remembering how you felt.
Yeah, and it's like not just rewarding for yourself, but it's also like you have a sense of like reward for the people around you who have helped you like get to that point as well. Like Miss Mckenzie and Dad and Miss Polglaze and stuff, who all put work into it too, and you're like, I've helped them like put on this project that they really enjoyed. And I think that's a really cool aspect of it too.
Yeah, I guess like one big part of it that I find really valuable is that community that you build.
Community is epic, and like Nayland especially does a really good job of doing that with all of the performances and stuff that they put on, like the Nayland Unplugged night and stuff that you guys did, and that was a really cool vibe there.
That was like wild for us.
Yeah.
Do you want to know like the story?
I would love to know the story.
Wait, the drama?
I would love to hear about it.
Well, you stepped on a nail.
Oh yeah, I was like running late, and I was running out the door, and a rusty nail was poking up out of the door frame, and I went woo! And then my foot was bleeding, and I ran to the car, and I was like, Mom, this just happened, but we're gonna go. So yeah, the show must go on.
That was like our first ever acoustic performance of some of our songs, and we hadn't practiced it at all because I was like awfully sick. And so we like got on stage, and it was like one of the first shows where we were like kind of completely relying on just like our connection as a band to get through it.
Yeah, and that was such a good performance too.
Thank you.
It was really good.
It felt very freeing, like it felt like we could kind of experiment on stage, like it was awesome. It was an awesome gig, awesome vibes, like need more of that.
We tackled part of a song that we hadn't done before. And
fun.
It's quite a tricky one.
The
extension of
Did we do the Moscardon extension?
Yeah.
I don't even...
I didn't
blocked it out of my memory.
I remember thinking, as I started it, I was thinking, oh my god, like, we have to, like, stop this as soon as possible.
No, in my mind I was like, oh my gosh, this is happening. And then, like, I had an out-of-body experience, and I closed my eyes, and I opened them, and it was over.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened, so...
Those sort of experiences are sort of cool though, like especially for, like the autopilot that you sort of go into, and like the adrenaline and everything.
Oh my gosh.
Is like so much fun. Like those are some of like the most rewarding parts of performing, like the adrenaline rush and
the muscle memory.
Yeah, muscle memory is huge.
It's gone me through every drama performance ever.
Yeah.
Like the terror of being in front of an audience just like overtakes you, but then it's like pow, and it turns on.
But like one of the fun things as well is like honestly when things go wrong and you have to adapt to them. Like adapting to things that happen that you can't, like that one show in Adams where like literally everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Was that the first one?
So I think it was like the second one, and like trays got dropped and lines were missed, and the ball went into the audience, like the ball that Sterling threw like bounced into the audience, and like
he nearly fell into the orchestra.
Like those sort of things, and you have to adapt to them, but like also like they're just so much fun. And
no, that's why I love doing comedy, because like comedy of errors, like it's funny when things go wrong.
I feel like when personally I'm on stage with you guys, I feel it's almost like it's like an insurance, because I know that we have some sort of like, we do have like a musical synergy, I'd say. Like we can sort of tell what each other are doing just by listening and just sort of feeling it. And so, I'm never too concerned about big mistakes, because I feel like we'll be able to correct them with the sort of feeling that we can work it out on like mid song on stage. But
It's
those
like
sort of
magic.
things. It's like sort of a trust that you have with the people around you, and like the understanding that if something goes wrong, they'll be able to cover for you, and you can cover for them as well, which is a big thing in any aspect of the performing arts, whether it's dance, drama, or music, and sort of like creating a team of people around you who will support you. Whether you're in like, I think, because I dance a lot, and so like competitions, for example, when you have a big troupe of people all sort of working off of each other's energy and vibe, and the audience is feeding back to you because they're usually all dancers too, or when you have a solo and you know everyone's sitting backstage and all supporting you and hyping you up from side of stage, like just creating a community of people around you who are going to support you and uplift you is a really cool part of the performing arts.
Yeah. Doing drama is so embarrassing. Like, it's actually so embarrassing. Like, you just, like, you don't feel, I don't know, embarrassment anymore because, like, you have to embarrass yourself in front of these people.
Every day.
Yeah, and it's like, you just get so close. Like, it's like family. Like, you can do anything weird.
Yeah.
Like, you can be absolutely disgusting.
And literally no one's going to care. It's so cool. It's so good.
And it's quite valuable that, like, the drama students, like, wait, hang on.
Oh, that's okay.
It's that theatre kid energy.
Yeah, and it gives you like a form of self-confidence.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is I'm glad that we are all really close friends and we're in drama together, because then like when we're in our friend group we can just be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And there's no consequence.
Yeah.
So we are cringe but we are free.
Pretty much that's like honestly the best summary of like the performing arts as a whole, like ever. Like it's so dumb. I think we're gonna move on to the next point, which sort of feeds off what we've just been talking about. But what are some of your favourite experiences that you've gained through doing the arts?
Well, I feel like I had a lot of anxiety before I started musical drama, especially drama. Like, I started drama for the first time in year 11, and I remember I was like shaking because we had to, when we did the role, we'd have to like
I remember
do
so
like
nervous.
like she'd give us a theme and then we'd have to do it, like make an act. And I remember shaking, but by the end of that year it was amazing. Like, it was so much fun just being able to do whatever you wanted, like vocally and physically, and just like being comfortable in your own body and with your own voice and like with the people around you. And I think, I don't know, doing drama and performing arts gave me like the freedom to be myself. Yeah.
No, I totally agree with that. And I think, you know, as well as sort of the personal experience that it gives you, like you get to experience so many like other things around New Zealand, around the world, and among groups of people that you would possibly never interact with ever, but it gives you a chance to like open up those opportunities and stuff. And like I know that you guys went to KBB recently and stuff.
We did feel like
amazing.
the enemy because we were the only school not from Auckland. But I think
there's one from like Kaiko or something.
yeah, I think it made us as a group become closer, just like spending 4 days with each other and like 8 hours in an airport.
Ooh,
But
fun.
it was like, no, that was an awesome experience. Anyways.
Do you have like, do any of you have any like specific memories or like performances you've done or experiences that you've had from the arts that you think about like often?
I think this year's Rock the City, being able to perform a Tool song with Oscar Begg from Solace on the drums was great.
That's cool.
It was solid. I reckon the energy was awesome. We were able to switch up the vibe, deliver something real punchy, and I think it left a bit of an impact. I think it was awesome.
Yeah. Kind of grew my confidence in what we can do as a band. Like, that was pretty ambitious, and I think we pulled it off. We can do anything.
Yeah, it took us a long time to get that one worked out. was a month and a half
Oh,
prepping up
wow.
for that. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's tricky song.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at the time, we were all super busy, and Oscar Begg, the drummer, he was in like his school's production,
Oh.
so that was intense for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his band was performing at the same gig
Oh,
as well.
lovely.
So we were lucky.
What more stress could you need in your life, eh? Yeah. Do you have any other sort of experience-based things?
I'm really fond of all of our performances for the Nelson Arts Festival at the tune-up gigs.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of when it's getting warm and people are in a good mood because they're eating nice food. It's just always that show is always a really good vibe.
Yeah, good energy.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can play that again this year.
Because Nelson has a really nice like performance community as well, and I think Nelson as a whole is really good at like going and supporting like local people, and also like going to performances that happen, and you know, all of the Adams shows sold out, and Nailin Unplugged was completely full, and all those sort of things, and it makes it even easier to perform to people around the place because you know that you're going to get support from people in the community and from like your inner and outer community. I think it's quite cool. It's quite nice in Nelson, even though it's quite small.
It's small but close knit, I reckon.
Yeah.
Like, I remember after our first tune-up gig, that was like our first gig, and there were people coming up to me saying like, I loved your performance, and I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like, it was just crazy.
Yeah. Those sort of things are really cool, and like in like the amount of people like that will come up and be like, oh my gosh, I saw you in this thing, right? And you're like, yeah. And then they're like saying how much they appreciate it. And you're like, oh my gosh, the hard work that I put into this was received by someone.
Yeah. I remember when we played Rock Quest this year in the Heats. And that was like right before the Addams Family show. We like ran off stage as quickly as possible so we could get back to the theatre. And as I was running to put my guitar away, this girl from Waimea stopped me, and she was like, hey, I saw you in the Addams Family and I loved it. And it was like shocking to me because I'd seen her perform in Rock Quest a couple years ago, and like she was like someone that I looked up to. And so I feel it's so special in the arts in Nelson because everyone's just always lifting each other up.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I had the open night guide not long ago for like all of the intermediate students, and I had people like talking to me about Addams Family. They're like, oh my gosh, you're in Addams Family, right? And I was like, that was like months ago, but like, yeah. And those sort of things are really cool as well. Yeah. Cool. So we're going to move on to the last question now. So what aspects or how have the arts impacted your mental health and why? And we were talking about, before we started recording, we were talking about that some of these might be expression, your connection with others, managing and expressing emotions, that sort of thing.
I think you got a lot of different aspects to this one because I feel like being able to spend time alone with your instrument or just creating and not particularly performing is great. Just to have a thing to do that is constructive and that you love is just great and a really positive thing to have in your life. And I think with like in performances, like again, like I spoke about earlier, sort of like a good way to release a emotion all at once. And like for me, I like to be as present as possible on stage. I like to jump around a lot. And I feel like that's just because I'm getting it all out. I'm just putting all of my energy into a performance, and I feel like it's a nice way to live, just sort of building up and then just pouring it into one big performance. I think. Yeah.
No, that's a really cool aspect of it.
Yeah, it's like an outlet. Personally, like, I don't know, speaking is great, like talking to people, but when you can sing, you're kind of communicating, or like performing music, you're communicating like an unspoken emotion, and you can create like a feel or express something that you just can't quite put into words. And like it takes a lot of layers, like the drums and guitar and bass and vocals and the lyrics, and then when you're performing it, it's like you're expressing this thing, and then when people connect to it, it's like they're being seen too, and it's just like, I don't know, like a nice connection of, I don't know, your mind and how you think to other people's mindsets too. And
Music is a language of the soul.
yes.
I feel like that's cool because musicians get to express their soulful or feelings, and then that if that aligns with the audience, then that's just going to increase the energy, increase everyone's going to feel it better. It's just going to be better in general.
I think is because all of the three different performing arts all have their very own different ways of expressing things. So drama usually tends to do it through words and facial expressions and that sort of stuff, and trying to like show the audience how the audience might be feeling, or try and get the audience to think in a certain way depending on how the actor moves. Music tends to be, you know, through provoking emotions through melodies and lyrics and stuff, and then dance is a very physical one, of course. And you know, I do more drama and dance, but like you look at dance, for example, and some of my favorite pieces are my more emotionally connected ones, and the ones which have like a more deeper meaning to me. And you know, those are the ones that when I get off stage, people tend to be like, oh, that was really, really amazing to see you dance that. Like my like more lyrical contemporary ones, which are like usually sadder and usually have more meaning to me, usually have more meaning to the audience. And you know, find like expressing how I'm feeling in my dancing and in my acting as well is another way that the audience can, I guess, feel like they're less alone as well, and understand that there's other stuff going on for other people.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, like not feeling like alone, like feeling like you can create a connection with people, because sometimes like it's difficult to talk about your emotions, but like if you write a song, then it's just suddenly easy.
And it makes sense in your mind and what you're portraying out to people. And you know, I think there's a thing in people being able to receive like the arts how they perceive it in their own way as well. That's super important, because if you write a song, maybe you know what it means, but allowing people to interpret it how they want means that not only you can enjoy it, but heaps of other people can as well. And like there's so much music that I interpret a certain way based on things that have happened in my life, but I know that like talking to people about a certain song, they'll be like, oh, I took that like the complete opposite way. And those sort of pieces are really cool, and being able to connect with people on different pieces of music and or arts of some kind, and talking about performances and how you perceive them and how that impacts your life is really cool, because everyone's going to have a different understanding of that and what that means to them.
I reckon that's good, because it sort of breaks down the barrier of like it being difficult to talk about stuff like that. Like Tia said, like if you can put it into a song, it's like, well, it doesn't need to specifically be taken away. But I suppose true like, the feelings it means, and it's even if it's not interpreted the way you're exactly hoping, the feelings are still getting out there.
And someone has, no matter how they've interpreted or taken it or whatever, it still means something to them. And the work that you've spent time and effort has been received some way by someone, and has maybe helped them or has made them think more deeply about something, or has made them feel more understood, which is quite a cool idea. And after I did my drama piece for solo performing arts, like I had people come up to me and be like the judge came up to me and was like, oh, my piece was about like beauty standards, and the judge came up to me and was like, I have 2 teenage daughters, and like this resonates with me so much, and like you know, and sort of getting that perception from it too, and other people being like, thank you for putting this out there, is a really cool, like, experience to have as well.
Yeah, it can be really scary putting yourself out there. Like, our first few performances were quite terrifying, because it's like, are people gonna like this? Like,
Yeah.
and when you're doing something over and over, practicing, it's like, oh, I don't know about this. But then, like, doing it and getting the reception, it's just like, it's worth it. Like, it's worth putting yourself out there, and it grows your confidence. Like, oh my gosh, like, my confidence performing since being in the band, especially, like, singing, I'm like, it's really fulfilling. Like, it used to be scary, and like afterwards it was like a relief for it to be over, but now I just want it to keep on going. Like, I want to do like longer sets. I just want to keep going, like do more and more, because it's so fulfilling.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh, I was gonna expand off it. Isabella's sort of having a bit of stage fright, because I do have a funny story. When I was in primary school, I was doing a drum duo with one of my friends at the time, and I totally bombed it, and I ran off stage. It was like the worst, and I did eventually get back up on stage and do it, and you'd think that would sort of terrify me, leave me a bit traumatized of performing on stage, but for some reason it sort of did the exact opposite, and now going on stage it's just, I don't feel scared really. It's just like a charge, and it's like I'm feeling ready. It's like the feeling before a performance. If I could have that all the time, I would be doing amazing things.
I feel like a lot of performers would probably have like one moment of stage fright or something that went wrong on stage that like you've overcome, and you'll be like, well, that happened, I want to do this even more now. Like, that sort of goes back to the whole, like, you know, mistakes and stuff that happen on stage.
I feel like part of it's also about like redeeming yourself.
Maybe I've just slowly been working up to redeeming it. All these years.
The other day, I was at school, and I walked into a tutor class that wasn't mine. It was in the music room. And there's a drummer in there, his name's Joel. And I was like, let's have a drum battle. And I lost by a mile, but like, I can't wait to get back in there and redeem myself.
No, those sort of things are like so much fun, and just like being able to share like your love of what you're doing with other people, even if it's like it doesn't go how you thought it would, you still got to, you know, do something that you love and enjoy doing.
Like, doing that with other people is so special. Like, I'm so glad that we have these shared experiences. And like, I'm so grateful that I've met my two best friends ever through this band.
Yeah, which is so cool. And like, meeting people is like so much fun. Like, I wouldn't have met you two if it hadn't been for like musical theatre and drama and stuff, and that's really cool.
That cringe lifestyle.
I mean, our first time that we met was through Susical, and you were my mother.
Oh my gosh, that's like, crazy.
I know.
That feels like a million years ago.
Yeah, like that was literally the first time that we met.
And then I was your mother.
Yeah, or someone's mother, and like we met through Anna's family, where you were like a grandma walking around with a cane. Like, not a cane, you didn't have one, but like you were walking around like all hunched over and stuff. Yeah, that show was full of some interesting roles. But like, and I feel like especially through the performing arts, the meeting stories that you have with people tend to be quite funny, and tend to be quite good. And like, people that you meet and continue through within the arts, I feel like meeting stories for those are just something else. Like, they're so funny.
We met through a meme, and I remember when I first knew who Ash was, we were both in intermediate, and we were doing the band quest in different bands, and we never talked, but I remember seeing him on stage, and I was like, whoa!
Yeah.
Who is this insane bass player? And then, like, if I'd told myself back then I'd be in a band with a crazy bass player, I'd have been pretty stoked.
Yeah. I love that so much. Like, yeah, so those sort of things are really cool, and like a great reason to try and keep going with this sort of thing. And, you know, like going to like the cadenza and stuff, like there were people that I met there who like I don't really have anything to do with now, but you have like really nice conversations with, and you get to meet people from all over the country, and, you know, I think that's quite cool.
Yeah, what the heck. I remember at the cadenza last year, I saw people, because I used to live in Riverton, I saw people from Riverton,
Yeah.
like, that I hadn't seen for like 4 years, and I was like, oh my gosh, hey.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Like, it's so weird, but it's like really, really cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything else you want to add on?
I think I'm pretty set.
Cool. We're going to do the outro then and finish off this episode. So, thank you for listening to Tiny Talks. Remember, you are kind, you are beautiful, you got this, and I will see you next week. I'm going to give each of you a high five. Oh!